morning, Vietnam.
Perfect. There he is.
Hey guys, I am so sorry, Vicky. This is my
Don't worry.
bad. I'm sorry, I'm late.
Don't
Were you
worry, it
out
was an
ice
early
fishing?
start for you, wasn't it?
I kind of messed up my timing because of daylight time saving.
I mean,
Hi
Mike
guys, hi
Chan never
everyone.
learned to
Welcome the
read,
podcast.
and he doesn't understand.
Well,
Oh,
Arne gave you the perfect way out. You could have claimed you were ice fishing, and you're like, no, I couldn't
I
read.
was.
Yeah.
No. I've never been ice fishing, by the
Thank
way.
you for dialing in.
which is what I would
Ice
say. Yeah. Oh, I wasn't ice fishing. Yeah.
No, so yeah. Anyways, it's kind of weird. So, anyways, hi everyone. Welcome to the podcast. This is Mike Chan.
Hello,
Thank you very
Mike
much.
Chan.
Good night. Yeah.
We have about 5 minutes left, but anyway, you're here. And we're talking about Star Wars. We're talking about The Mandalorian and how it has recaptured the essence of Star Wars. They have saved Star Wars. Would you say that's correct?
I would say that I think Mike was talking, so he's probably correct.
Mike's correct. Yeah.
Mike's always right.
There you go.
That's Mike Chan's nice way of saying he's never really watched Star Wars.
That is correct. You know me. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I'm sorry. So whatever
It's
he said,
Star Wars, not Star War. You're proving that, right?
That's my Canadian accent.
There's only one Star Wars film Mike ever saw, and I think it's The Last Jedi. You went to the cinema to watch that with us.
Yeah. Oh,
And that's the only one he
thing.
saw. That was the only one he saw, and it's the worst one of the whole series out of all the ones to see. So he stepped
the one the guy wanted to milk something.
yeah. He's drinking milk on that animal. He's squeezing, and he's like, "Wait." But Mike next to me going, "What is this shit? Like, why do you get me to watch this?"
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Michael, for joining us.
I'm so sorry.
Actually, I have one last thing to say about Star Wars. There's a fan theory that they're actually going to make those films again, the last three, because at the end of this season, it's going to split into another dimension because I always call him little Baby Yoda. He obviously is trained by Luke Skywalker, and the only other person, or the only person that was ever trained by Luke Skywalker was Ben Solo, right? So we're saying that maybe there's an alternative universe going on now.
That would financially make certain sense because you get to keep the IP for Luke Skywalker. But on the other flip side of the coin, I do believe that Luke Skywalker. Well, first of all, Luke Skywalker has an academy, I believe, in the other Star Wars.
In the books, he had the Jedi Academy. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, in the books, he had the Jedi Academy. That is correct. So it could splinter off to that as well.
But then he also married a spaceship. Yeah,
sorry, but he in other situations, like he hasn't quite trained Baby Yoda yet, so something could still happen.
Well, Baby Yoda may get killed by Ben Solo, right? But I think they would lose their best character, right? Look at your face. Oh, Michael.
Mike Chan's like, kill him. I don't
Baby
care.
Yoda, who's that?
Mike Chan's like, why is Kermit the Frog in Star Wars? What's going on?
Oh my god.
Oh wait, I actually there's an interesting experiment I want to play. So Mike has not seen Star Wars, but my theory is that when certain films get big enough, including the Karate Kid, which I guess we'll jump in eventually, that through pop culture alone, you can assimilate certain huge parts of a film before even seeing it. So if you say to Mike Chan, who's Darth Vader? Darth Vader was not in that, but you know who Darth Vader is, I'm assuming. Yeah, you know.
Then how come he didn't get Good Morning Vietnam?
Well, because it's not a culturally like shifting film, but Star Wars though is. So he probably knows who like Luke Skywalker are and who. Well, he saw Last Jedi, but he kind of probably knows the lore and everything else. So do you know who Luke Skywalker's father is?
Mr. Skywalker.
Yeah.
Okay, never.
Well, Mr.
Okay. All right, never mind. Okay, never mind. Okay, you
No, I
have a
don't know
lot of
enough
awesome
to
film.
piece it together. I don't know
All right.
enough to piece it together.
All right.
I
Well,
know
when you,
some
I
of the
won't
characters.
spoil it, but it's a huge twist. But I was just wondering if that through osmosis that had somehow like gotten into you without seeing the films. But no. All right. Well, that settles that experiment then. So yeah.
Like, you got to watch it. Chewbacca is Luke's father.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's Darth
Okay.
Vader, right?
Yeah. There you go. It is Darth Vader. There he goes. So he does
Yeah.
know.
Well,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. There he goes.
It's
Yeah.
like I am your father or something somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
I
So
see
he's not
memes, I
seen the
see it.
film.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
the film.
So
But,
there you go. So
apparently
through
that's what
osmosis, he
happened.
knows a whole chunk of the film. So for a large part, that film's been spoiled for him without seeing it. But I find that super interesting that a film is so culturally massive that through other media, you know so much of what's going on. So I don't know. I've always been fascinated by that. So there
What
you
did
go.
you think
I've
of,
heard. I think it's just a fan theory. They're going to reboot it because, as bad as the last Star Wars movies were, they made a shitload of money. And the problem is, if you reboot it, you're going to have to recast a lot of people, and I don't think they'll do it. I think there'll be more TV. I think they're definitely going to.
Yeah. There's a Darth Vader TV show coming
the
apparently.
Rogue One TV, the Rogue Squadron TV series, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show that's going to film in England, and all these other ones. So I think.
Oh, I didn't know about
I think
that.
there's going to be a lot more TV. I think they're going to steer clear of the movies for a while. Yeah.
That would make total sense. Yeah.
And they've got the Boba Fett books coming out this year, haven't they? So
Yeah.
that
And
should
don't
be
forget all the
pretty good.
And don't forget all the comic books that are still going. There's a comic book called Vader Down, which I read, which is great about how Darth Vader, after becoming Darth Vader, the character Darth Vader, he actually goes through like a whole bunch of shit, and that makes him more effective as being an evil Sith and everything else. And it really tests his mettle, and it's a great comic book. And I reckon they're going to reach toward that when it comes to Darth Vader TV show as well. But at least it'd be interesting if they did.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
the last one we're looking at is Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai!
Oh,
Cobra
how
Kai
good it
never
is.
dies.
Cobra
Yeah.
Kai never dies.
That is just awesome.
Yeah.
It is so fucking good.
So why is
Now
it
the
so
funny
good?
thing for me is that, well, I think what's funny for me is that about 10 years ago, a band called No More Kings did this incredible song and music video called Sweep the Leg, Johnny, which is basically a sequel to The Karate Kid with William Zabka living in a trailer park with the rest of the Cobra Kai.
Oh,
I'll send you that. It's
yeah.
awesome. It's
Yeah.
genius. And it was one of them, and it's just William Zabka directed the music video. Martin Cove's in it. Ralph Macchio turns up at one point. It's awesome. But like as we were saying, same with Star Wars, the Karate Kid movies are locked into everyone's psyche. They're on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the whole wipe on, wipe off, whatever. And I think the best thing exactly. See, even Mike Chan knows it.
Well, he's seen those movies.
They used to call me Mr. Miyagi when I grew up here. So
Is that true?
that is true.
Hey,
Well, maybe it's because you used to walk around and you ask young men to come and paint your house. It's like,
wax my car, will you?
but no, it's the same thing. It's in our thing, and the fact that with Cobra Kai you can see the same thing. The people who wrote it are fans,
Yeah.
but they've come at it from a different angle. I mean, the fact that basically we now realize Johnny is an idiot, but he's a lovable idiot. It was none of it was his fault. And Ralph Macchio is really the anti-hero, because there's always been that thing, if you look at it, that Johnny is a guy who, this guy turns up from New York, steals his girlfriend.
Yeah. And just acts
pisses
crazy.
him off,
Yeah. But it's funny because that actually was a fan theory that's going on Reddit for a long time, saying Johnny wasn't the real bully. And it was it became such a thing that they actually kind of weave that into the show. So it's really good. It's actually funny that William Zabka I'm actually really happy that he kind of got his whole career back at age, 55, I think he was. Because in the 90s, he wasn't doing too high. I mean, he showed up in How I Met Your Mother as his character, kind of, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of those people who kind of fell off the radar for a while. And it's great to have him back. And I think the way they've handled it, like even with like Martin Cove, bringing him back and giving him a backstory of why John Kreese is like that. And now, of course, they dropped the big hint, spoilers, that Terry Silver will come back.
Yeah.
And
What do you
Thomas
think?
Ian Griffith, there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
man who should have been a star. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. What do you think? I have a theory that I think it's going to end up that Johnny's father is going to be John Kreese. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Ah.
What do you think of that? Mike.
Well, we
I was
talked
hoping
about
it'd
it.
be Darth Vader. Yeah.
I think Kreese is going to be his father. Yeah, and that's what, because when you see this TV show, at one point, like he gets a letter from the girlfriend, and it's like, oh, she died, but we don't have that confirmed at all. It could be that she was pregnant, and she
Yeah.
went off with some of those bullies. One of which turned out to be the Sid character, who later becomes, you know, his father and everything else, that aloof father. So that could be the bully who was in the first thing they actually got in a fight with Kreese. So I think it's going to be that the letter, because we never saw what was in the letter, and the guy was just saying stuff to throw him off when they had to fight above the snake pit, which is the most horrible fight I've ever seen. But like, it's like, it's basically, yeah, I think it's going to end up being that there's a whole relative, because the theme of the show is father and sons, right? I mean, that's
Yeah, but
basically
Arne,
what it's about.
are you sure that they didn't show it, or were you just like not watching it because they were above a snake pit? Yeah.
No. I think he was messing with him. No, I honestly think that's what they're going to go for, because the general theme of the show is father and sons, be they actual fathers and sons, or like in the case of, like, you know,
Because
well,
you said
that's-
I
something
mean,
about
the fact that like they they managed to bring back Elizabeth Shue for a cool little cameo, Tamlin Tomita, Yuji Okamoto.
that was crazy.
I mean,
Yeah, crazy. That they
they've
got
done
them
it the
back.
right way.
Mm.
Like, how to say, you know, it would have been so easy to mishandle that by having Elizabeth Shue come back and be a bimbo, or to have, but they handled it so well. And I think
I like the fact she was only back for a little bit too, not like
Yeah.
a permanent love interest. So, and
Yeah.
Mike, you're going to say something? Other Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with Arne. There's this one scene where the three characters are there, and they goes, "It's good to have like 3 generations of Cobra Kai's together," right? That's
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah,
hint
under
that
one
they
roof.
may be related.
Yeah, foreshadowing. Yeah.
But also, do you think that if you hadn't have seen the Karate Kid films, that you would like that it would be that popular?
Well, I think it's really interesting you're asking this, and I was hoping you'd ask that, because that's when my theory went back earlier on, that I think through osmosis, most people, as Mike also said, most people know this freaking movie. Like, because the wax on, wax off, and sweep the leg, these are all such pop culture memes. And they did a really good job of interweaving elements from the movies as memories into the show. I think they did that phenomenally well.
Oh,
So some
even
trick-
the use of music from the film series.
Oh,
Everything,
the music is great,
Totally.
man.
You know,
The music is brilliant.
because I mean, I
agree.
know that Arne gets a tear in his eye when he hears Peter Cetera, "The Glory of Love." I mean, it's
You know me
many
too
a
well.
time I've turned around and Arne is standing there when we're both
She
standing
pushes sleeves up.
here. Yeah. But no, I mean, they've really worked the pop culture world. They've worked the elements, and like with the Mandalorian, they're playing to the fans, but not always in the way you expect. And I think that's what makes it better. It would be
It's fun.
very easy to bring back Yuji Okamoto as still this crazed evil bad guy, but the fact that he comes back and he's just this somewhat goofy, he's the equivalent of Ralph Macchio. That he's just
Ralph
kinda like,
Macchio.
I got old.
Yeah. Ralph Macchio's, for me, in many ways, is like, in some ways, for me, he's still kind of like the villain of the show in a very bizarre way. You know what I'm saying? He's because we're all rooting, we all know who we're rooting for, is it, like who we see as the main protagonist. So, and Ralph Macchio seems to always slightly like get in the way in a weird way. I don't know. I prefer the scenes without him more than
That's
the
why
whole
they got to
Miyagi
bring
Do-
back Terry Silver.
Yeah, the Terry Silver thing's really gonna really fix it up and stuff
The only
like that.
thing
Yeah.
I don't quite like, which hasn't rung true to me from the original films, was the choice of his wife,
I quite like her.
Mrs. LaRusso. I really can't stand that woman. I want to put my foot
Okay.
on the TV whenever she's on it. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, although I like his daughter. The actress who plays the daughter, I think, is fantastic. But
Okay,
Yeah.
so Vicky, who should he have married? Should he have married Elizabeth Shue, or should he have married Tamlin Tomita?
her, she was the best one. The Japanese
Tammy
lady.
Tomita.
Yeah, see,
Is-
nobody even remembers the girl in the third film. She's
The
just
third,
gone.
the
Yeah.
third film is such a strange movie because he's like 27 years old in that. He's supposed to be playing an
Yeah.
18-year-old. Yeah, He's 27
He's
years
no
old.
longer the Karate Kid. He's the Karate
No,
Man.
you look. He was a married man. I think he had a kid on the way already, and he's running around like an 18-year-old. And the film, when you look at it, it's super awkward because his clothing is like for a teenager, but his head is like it's like an old man, or no, much older man. And then the funny thing is, the girl who was in the film is playing opposite to him, who's supposed to be his love interest. That girl was 16 years old. So they changed the script. So when you look at the film, it's very bizarre because they changed it up to make him like, oh, she's a really good friend. But you can tell originally they thought of something else until they went, oh shit, our guy's like 27 years old, married to Anne as a kid, and this girl's 16. This is like a legal case waiting to happen. But it's okay for Sean
Connery or someone to have like a 40-year younger love interest.
Roger
Ralph,
Moore, yeah.
At 27, you're already old and creepy. Yeah.
Well, she was underage, so that's like a main thing. But it was just it's such a like when you realize how old. Watch that movie again and realize he's 27. It's a very different movie.
So, oh my God, it's just been destroyed in my head now.
Yeah. Will they bring in the next Karate Kid and have what's her name?
Hilary Swank,
the actress, turn up? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't like that movie.
I hope not.
I didn't see it, that one.
I started watching it and I was like, well, I'm not watching this, and I turned it off. So it's not a good movie. So I know.
What can you
it's
recommend?
the one I can't watch. I watched it when it came out, and I've never been able to watch it again. It's been on TV a few times, and I've started to watch it, and then I'm just like, no.
Oh God.
I'm checking out. Have you seen it, Mike?
As long as they bring back Terry Silver, Cobra Kai will continue to rock.
Yeah. Cobra Kai is good.
Because Terry Silver's the hero.
Sorry, I keep talking over everyone. What would you recommend while I'm in lockdown now to watch then? Michael Chan, are you watching anything at the moment you can recommend me?
I'm catching up on Netflix recently. I got my account like less than a year ago, and I go to Arne and I go to other friends for recommendations. Currently, I'm watching Stranger Things because you mentioned it.
What do you think? Okay, what do you think of Stranger Things? We talked about that before you came in. What do you think of it?
I think the first season was it's quite punchy. It gets in pretty well. Second season, the pacing starts going like, okay, is there something that's gonna happen, or what's going on? It's a little buggy. And now I'm down to like the third season. Again, I think it doesn't have that power that it had on the first one, I think. I don't know. It's fun. It's a good ride. The kids are somehow annoying, and they're not as young.
These two hate kids, so you join them.
No, I like kids in general, but these kids are just. I mean, Arne, help me out here.
News, the cast of Stranger Things commits suicide.
I know, but yeah, I agree with Mike. I think these particular kids, I think Finn Wolfhardt's okay actor, but for the rest of them, they kind of annoy me. That's basically what I'm going to say. I'm on the same boat as Mike. By the way, Mike and I are born in the same year as well. So when it comes to nostalgia, we're basically, I guess, on the same page in terms of that.
Okay, so Stranger Things. Anything else you recommend off Netflix?
Or any equivalent streaming network.
Or any equivalent streaming network. Yes.
What else have I seen recently? I recently watched Scream on Netflix.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun as well. That was a lot of fun. But to be fair, I didn't quite remember the original movies because I've watched them like really long time ago. But watching a TV show was somehow really entertaining.
Yeah, I think Mike's got a point there. And Scream is from the 90s as well. And that was a huge film when I was in high school. So it was like, but again, talking about films coming back in terms of nostalgia, Scream works really well because when I first started watching it, I was like, how are they going to turn this thing, like make it any, I don't know about Mike, but when I first started watching it, like, how are they going to make a slasher film TV show? And I started watching going, oh, this is actually really damn good.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Mr. Venema, what are you watching you can recommend? I found Dagon. I found it.
Oh, you found Dagon. Oh, did you like it?
I've not watched it yet. I've not watched it.
Oh, okay.
I just found it. Google Play it's on, so I'm going to catch up with that.
Dagon's interesting. I don't know. I've been kind of I've been watching the shows we all talked about, like Cobra Kai and everything else. Bizarrely speaking, my wife is watching Dawson's Creek right now, which, talking
Oh,
about Scream, the first few episodes were written by Kevin Williamson, who also wrote Scream, which is interesting. And I didn't follow it that much, but I did watch the first 2 or 3 episodes. I gotta say, the show's written pretty damn well. But if you're talking about nostalgia,
Are
you want to
you
see
in
what the
love with
90s.
Pacey now, Mr. Venema?
I think he's a great actor. Look, he's the best actor on the show. What's his name again? I know he's Joshua Jackson, great actor. But if you want to see a show that warps you back to the 90s, watch the first few episodes of Dawson's Creek, because holy moly, they don't have phones. The internet's never discussed, like all these random things. Yet they're in the 90s. They vaguely refer, oh, I heard he has a cell phone. It's like, okay, this is really weird. It's that weird crossover period. So I was watching it kind of laughing. Oh, that's really fun.
send you a fax later.
Yeah. Well, there's a scene where he's like, oh, can you fax it to us? I'm like, this is awesome. Like, there's this really surrealist kind of humor to the damn show. It's almost like someone made it now to throw it back to then. You know what I'm saying? Which I think eventually we're going to get. Otherwise than that, I have to say, Mike Leeder and I are doing a lot of audio commentaries right now. So I have been watching a lot of older Hong Kong films. I got to say that much. So another show which I loved, I put off watching it, but I loved, and it does take place during the 80s, is a Japanese TV show called The Naked Director, which is about an individual who works in he has a salaryman job, which is in Japan just a common, like, do X, Y, and Z and get paid your salary and wear a suit and do whatever. And one day he just kind of snaps because his wife cheats on him, and and it's based on a true story. He starts a company that shoots porn. So, and it's just this wild story about him getting in the industry and going up against like regulations, all the norms and everything else. And it's really fun because I know this is very strange to say, but it's one of those movies that makes you want to make movies. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily
I thought for a
porn.
minute you were going to say it wanted to make you make porn. It's like,
Well, my initials are AV, which is the Japanese word for porn. So no, but I do not want to make porn. No, but like, it's kind of those things where you go with your friends, you go out and you shoot a bunch of stuff. It's really cool. And I found The Naked Director
that
quite
sounds
endearing.
like porn.
And yeah, but I think the second season's coming soon. I'm really excited for it. So yeah, Naked. It's been out for a bit, but I'm going to recommend The Naked Director. I thought it was really cool.
Okay, Mike Leeder.
I've been
My
revisiting.
favorite leader. My favorite leader. Please.
Yeah.
Please let us know.
I've been revisiting a lot of old TV. I've been revisiting Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes, which I still think is brilliant. Don't get me started on the American remake. That was just, even with Harvey Keitel, that's an awesome show. Also revisiting Spooks, aka MI5 for our American listeners. That not really been watching much genre stuff recently, I'm afraid. Not stuff I normally watch. Revisited Studio 60 over Christmas. Aaron Sorkin's best show, and it only made it through one season. I watch too much TV and movies at the best of times, so I recommend everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So
I recommend
finally-
watching The Art of War and seeing a young Mike Chan. Yeah.
Oh yes,
right.
Mike Chan in The Art of War. Yes, Mike Chan here was in the Wesley Snipes film. Did you know that?
My God, Wesley Snipes, fantastic. What was that experience
Passenger
like?
57. Yeah.
What was that like, Mike?
That
Good
was
fun?
that was interesting. The whole movie was shot. Well, a big chunk of the movie was shot in Montreal back then, back in the 90s, end of the 90s. I think it was 1997, 1998 or so, and eventually the movie came out in 2000. So they used Montreal as a shooting location, and they needed a lot of Asians or Chinese as extras. So I don't remember how I got into helping out with casting. So basically, I was a guy calling all these extras and telling them to bring their stuff and do this, do that, be on time. We're gonna meet up there and stuff. And eventually, the guy asked me, "Hey, Michael, would you like to audition?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, but what can I do? All these extras are mostly, yeah, they do just like extra work." So he's like, "No, no, no, I've got this young Asian triad guy, maybe you can try in. Just come to this office, like at, 1 p.m. So I got there, I did the audition, and eventually he told me I got the role. So I was helping out on set, and I managed to play a small role. Um,
Fantastic.
I was on set for about 4 days, I'd say, and I shot for half a day only. The rest of the time was just hanging out, having buffet, having like steak and lobster and whatnot.
Sounds
Sounds good.
horrendous. Yeah, sounds
Very,
amazing.
but that was my first time on set, on an American set, and wow, I gotta say
Gosh.
it was very, very interesting.
What was the first
But
Hong Kong
Mike, you
set you were
mean
on?
no? Sorry, I'm just confused. Mike, you didn't have to fight the entire stunt team to get on the movie.
I didn't have to.
Oh, God.
No.
What was
So
the
it's a
first Hong
private
Kong set
joke
you
for
were
if
on?
someone we know. Yeah.
The first Hong Kong movie I was on was let me look up the English title. It's called Sun Si Mui with Fiona Sit. She plays like a Hong Kong police cadet or a police.
Oh,
woman.
I know the name of the movie. I
What
know
was
the
it
one.
called?
Oh, they did
know
about
what-
3 or 4 of them, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
original
One
ones
second.
with Miriam Young.
Yeah. 1 second. Fiona Sit.
Yeah, I
which
forgot
one
what
it is.
it's called. That was
Hang
my
on, I'll
very
tell you.
first time on set. I was playing an extra police cadet, really, and I'm just training with Fiona. Vaguely. I appeared there once or twice. That was the first experience on Hong Kong.
Love Undercover Part 3.
Oh, that is
there
right.
you go. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to check all these films out.
He's been
Michael,
in a
I'll have
Ringo
to go
Lam.
through your IMDb.
He's been in a lot of random films. Like he was in a Ringo Lam film as well. What was it?
Wild City.
Wild City. Yeah, you were in Wild City as well. He's on the poster for that too.
And Sky
So
on
he's
Fire, that was fun.
He was also in Kung Fu Chefs.
Yes,
Kung Fu Chefs. He's in that as well. Yeah.
I
With
will.
Sammo
I
Hung.
promise you. I promise you. I will watch all of these.
He's been
So,
in-
fellas, what you got coming up then? I need to wrap the the podcast up.
Oh, okay.
What have you got coming up for this year?
Well, Mike and I'm not exactly sure what Mike
Can
and I
you
can talk
say?
about. We've got a lot of podcast audio commentaries coming up. I can say that, and we've got some stuff we're doing. So, how much can I say, Mike? I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
Nothing.
With me, you can say everything.
No, we've got a couple of projects that we don't want to jinx because unfortunately
Yeah.
we were good to go on one project last year, and a combination of a mad president and COVID kind of
Right.
affected that one.
Which
Yeah.
Mike was going to be in as well.
There's a couple of projects. Yeah. So there's a couple of projects like that. I just finished a bizarre romantic comedy. Just got called tonight by a Bollywood movie. Well, I need to cast some table tennis players for a Bollywood movie. Might be a project for Amazon if all goes well, and then a couple of projects with young Mr. Venema, hopefully. One or two of which may feature young Mr. Chan. And
Oh,
then
cool.
bunch of audio commentary stuff and more. So
Yeah,
fingers
great.
crossed.
Good
It'll be
luck
good,
to
yeah.
you all. Michael, what you up to this year?
Well, I'm currently in Canada, and it's there's a lockdown, there's a curfew, so
Yeah.
not much going on right now.
Right. Okay. Fair
Unfortunately.
enough.
There you
I'm
go.
going to go to Canada. Canada's free.
Yeah.
Totally free.
I'm gonna I'll just say one thing. I'm on Acid Chicken Records, and I've got 2 albums coming out pretty soon. So I'll send you a complimentary copy of both of them if you want digitally. as well.
Brilliant. I do. Yeah. I need
Acid
to.
Chicken Records. Project
I
Soda
need
is
to-
the name.
I need to annoy my neighbours. So yes, please.
Actually,
So-
most of his music is recorded by his cat. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's-
there's one track that's been released under Brazil the Cat because my cat walked across the synthesizer and the sequencer is recording it, and then I use that as a bass melody. I moved 1 or 2 notes around so it was in key, and then I used it as bass melody and released it as built a song around and released as Brazil the Cat, and basically was made by my cat walking over like synthesizers and keyboards, and I just delete the stuff that wasn't good and I kept the rest. And it's been released by by a company named Cut Records. It was on a compilation album in late 2019. So called
cool.
Cut Tracks Volume 1. So yeah, there you go. Brazil the Cat I did that under. So yeah.
Thank you.
And of
thank
course,
you,
the other
thank you.
plan is to rescue Joe Fiorello and restore
Yes.
him
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have to bring him back, Joe Frello, back to Hong Kong. That's something else we got to do.
Okay. I will send him a copy of this podcast as the
Yes.
start of the petition.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get him
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Joe,
we should all get,
need you. Hong Kong
we
needs
should all
you,
get
Joe.
we should get Joe Frello on a podcast sometime and just ask him like the shit that he's pulled while he was in Hong Kong because it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
So
The
we've
Joe
all met
Fiorello
Joe
guy.
in very
10
bizarre ways.
random questions
Yeah.
ranging from what did you have for breakfast this morning, and we'll get hours of entertainment.
Great. I've got to arrange that, haven't I?
Yeah.
Well,
He's
thank
hilarious.
you all. I better
Thank
close
you.
this podcast.
Cool.
Actually, I might release it into 2 pieces as we did waffle on, didn't we? But thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having
and
us.
I hope to catch up with you all again soon. And Happy New Year for this week.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Yes,
Hey, Pat Choi.
Come Pat Choi.
Thank you guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, thanks for
Thank you to Mike, Arne and Michael for this fantastic podcast. Really enjoyed it. Couldn't stop laughing. And gong hei fat chai for this week for you all, and happiness and joy for the year of the ox.